someone like
That's a
during
great
the free
point.
segment. So, you know, there's a lot of ways to think about it.
There is. I'll have to have children, and if I do, I'll let you know. But yeah, we are in the game and loaded in. So it's a battle for France. It's a battle for freedom. It's a battle for the group. Which one of these players will make it to playoffs? Which one will not? In the top right-hand side, it is DnS.
In the bottom left-hand side of the map, our blue Protoss player who's showing up for the ShaDoWn. It's ShaDoWn.
Yeah, DnS with a gateway scout here, with a low ground gateway as well, whereas ShaDoWn is high ground gatewaying, but a single gateway for the time being. That will gas, however, so not gonna have the quickest nexus ever. And then scouting a little bit later. I'm not sure if this is gonna be fast enough even to block the nexus off DnS. It's gonna be kind of close. DnS taking his gas though, so he thinks it is enough, and yeah, he will delay his nexus.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a map where I think Cat's PvP, I've just seen so many times that players will go for the 2-gate aggression and they'll do the proxy pylons, they'll do like a Stargate or throw down offensive shield batters. Just, I think I am always paranoid whenever I see a high ground gate play from a Protoss player of just them going hyper aggro. And there it is. There is the proxy pylon. ShaDoWn is going to be doing this. And here's the important part of what I was just talking about, Cats, is if someone as bad as StarCraft as me knows that, DnS scouting in is going to be hyper aware of that possibility.
You do watch a lot of StarCraft though, Ravi, so I think you intake a lot of information that the players don't necessarily all the time, and you also watch high stakes matches, whereas on the latter they might be less likely to pull this kind of thing off, so their perspective might be skewed. All that said, I'm completely with you. I think that there is a little bit of paranoia there from DnS, already searching for the proxy, and when ShaDoWn was retreating from the natural of DnS, the probe of DnS actually lingered onto ShaDoWn's probe for a little bit longer than you would want to be efficient, right? So DnS definitely wanted to see and be like, are you dropping a proxy? And ShaDoWn didn't drop the proxy until the probe of DnS had gone away. So that also kind of forced this location to some degree. The stalkers are going to find it, but ShaDoWn already with 2 pylons to make sure that they don't get that the robo doesn't get depowered right away.
That's a really cute maneuver there. Usually the second pylon will start up a little bit afterwards, but just having both pylons already there definitely makes it a lot easier to just say, like, I know I'm not going to lose my power to the robo. So I know that those units will be coming out. I'm not worried at all about that. But yeah, like you were saying, Stargate going to be coming out on the defensive side of things. I have to say, DnS getting the better end of this Stalker micro for sure.
Yeah, and the angling's not going to favor ShaDoWn either, as he's going to take the other side, but DnS not looking to capitalize onto the pylon. The Immortal obviously is going to be fantastic against the Stalkers, and I love the Phoenix choice here from DnS, knowing that it is Immortal production. The Phoenix is going to be able to mitigate and negate the damage output from the Immortal. Even if it's not allowed to kill it, it will remove it effectively from the fight for the duration. So this is cool from DnS, but he has to be careful still. He knows it.
Yep. Now DnS is going to have to back off, like you said, but 2 more Stalkers will get warped in a moment's time. Cool. ShaDoWn is backing off.
I love this. I mean, ShaDoWn is one of my favorite Protoss players to watch because he is very creative, very adaptive as a player. And right now he has assessed the situation and he is deviating from what perhaps was his original plan, right? And that is why I love to watch him play. If something's unlikely to work, he will just drop it. He'll go a different direction. This is not an advantageous position for him. Of course, he's going to concede both of those pylons and the robo, but he will give himself a chance moving further into the game, and he did take the faster nexus as well.
I'm really 50-50 on it right now because I am a little worried he's going to be almost too far behind now because it's the fact that it wasn't even just the robo. So now he's going to be behind on tech, right? And he has the same number of gateways. It's also going to be the fact that DnS now also has taken out 2 pylons. So that was like a little bit of a supply block there. And then ShaDoWn wasn't actually producing additional units. There's Phoenix out that could potentially just, like you said earlier, completely take the Immortal out of the fight. I'm actually a little worried, or I'm just wondering if DnS actually has a little timing here now.
Would be a little bit difficult to exploit. I would have loved for DNS to continue to produce a couple more Phoenix just to try to capitalize on the economic advantage over time. He does have 3 though, so that's going to be plenty to pick off a few probes and get himself a lead no matter what. But yeah, I agree with you. Oh, out of position ShaDoWn. Maybe this is the timing that DNS could have exploited, but now every second that he takes longer is seconds that ShaDoWn has to reposition back at the natural. Instead, DNS is going to try to harass with Adepts. On the other side, the same is happening on the side of ShaDoWn. And actually a recall, presumably of the Phoenix, but another recall from ShaDoWn. This was a brilliant move from him. And on the other side, the DNS didn't really manage to accomplish anything with his Adept. So this was a very needed move from ShaDoWn. And I agree, he was playing from behind for sure.
Yeah, almost a little bit unfortunate there. DNS, when he did the recall with his units, this is a 99% useless fact for y'all. He had his shades going in, and they were going to be able to easily make it to the main base mineral line. But when he recalled, it cancels the shade. So he ended up actually canceling the Adept shade that would have been able to do a lot of damage, I think. Just dealing with the Warp Prism.
Excellent point, Ravi. Yeah, we missed that on the screen, so thank you for bringing it up. That is a very important detail because those Adepts could have killed an additional like 4, 5, 6 probes even, right? Like there is a lot of potential with Adepts early in the game, especially when you're harassing and having to be worried on the other side of the map as well. So a little bit of a bummer there. Another bummer here as the probe gets picked off right before dropping its Nexus, but the same happens on the other side of the map. These players are hiding tooth and nail. A very cool game to start.
Yeah, even though we had a very kind of strange opening from things with a proxy robo that then gets abandoned without actually ever really fighting, at the end of the day, we end up in a pretty interesting and even-ish position. Adepts are not going to be able to shade their way into the main base. ShaDoWn is super prepared for that. Both these players are going to have the ability to keep an eye out on each other. One player with Lucid Phoenix, other with real Phoenix, just continue to scout around.
Yeah, and ShaDoWn did get a lot of value out of the robo in that he got the Immortal. He had an Observer that died, I think, at some... Oh, no, he still has it. So the Observer's still out, and he got the Warp Prism as well. And in the right orders, too, right? He got the Immortal, and then the Warp Prism to make sure it escapes from the Phoenix, and then lastly, the Observer, which is going to appear cloaked, so not going to be able to be picked off. So he did get the value out of the robo to some degree. It's going to be very important for him to keep this Warp Prism alive for that reason. He no longer has the capability to remake it, at least not for now.
Yeah, I fully agree, especially if he's going to be kicking off this kind of aggression over here at the third base. Now, Phoenix have been able to spot out that these rocks are being knocked down.
Oh, no!
Finds the Observer. That's a nice pick-off, like you said. Not going to be remade.
I drop a DT Shrine right away if I were him. Oh, the Warp Prism also gets picked off, and it's these 2 pesky Adepts that kill 3 probes in the back and force the recall. Yeah, the Immortal, unfortunately, not fitting in that picture, and yeah, this is now very troublesome for ShaDoWn.
That's all of those robo units there. That's going to be really, really tough. And now ShaDoWn is actually moving forward with his Stalkers. Okay. Now, he is trying to blink back over here. He's not quite blinking back into shield battery range, though, so he's starting to lose quite a few of these Stalkers.
Oh, man.
DNS takes a supply lead.
Yeah, and this is going to be very difficult to dislodge here. Robo now going down for ShaDoWn, but this is looking like DNS's game to lose at this point. And that engagement, it looked a little bit reckless. The blink, it was very, very close, especially with the Guardian Shield. They're coming in to help, but now it's pretty much all but decided. DNS is going to blink on forward very well and kind of justifiably so. And yeah, this is going to be game 1 going to him.
Man, really, really nice pouncing there from DNS, I have to say. Like you said, the blink, of course, also really scary, but the pickoffs on the Immortal, the pickoff on the Warp Prism, even finding that Observer and everything, I feel like those were just the beginning of seizing a lot of that momentum there for DNS that allowed him to actually take that game. I really feel like, honestly, the biggest MVPs for that game to me are the 2 Adepts that forced that awkward recall that allowed the Warp Prism to be picked off and the Immortal to be picked off.
Oh, no, absolutely. I mean, and that happened earlier as well to allow ShaDoWn back into the game, right? On the other side with his own Adepts, that forced a similarly impactful recall, but he was playing from behind. So yeah, when he had to recall and when the Immortal dies and all those units die, it was lights out for him. So well done by DNS. And yeah, that was a game won by Adepts. Know that.
A game won with Adepts, even though there were basically only 4 Adepts or so during that entire game. But they were meaningful Adepts. Yeah, they're just being able to catch your opponent out of position. PvP is brutal like that. But I believe with that map win, sorry, DNS was already ahead in their historical map wins. So it's 63 and 61 now with their historical scores.
Nice. So
Yeah.
ShaDoWn, a chance to tie it up should he win the series. Game number 2 will be on Moondance, and we are about getting to we're about ready to get loaded in here, Ravs.
Yeah, fun little fact with some other score updates, by the way. We had Showtime take the first game versus King Cobra. I think not a lot of people super surprised about that one, but also Bly taking a 1-0 lead versus Jumi. So Bly finally getting one on the board. I know he's still been looking for that kind of first victory there, which even if you know you're eliminated from the groups and stuff, you really want to be able to at least take that first and final victory in the groups. You don't really want to go out 0-7. It's never a good feeling.
Never a good feeling. At the same time, Bly hasn't been putting in the hours that he had been prior, so I think that would be a little bit of an upset for him, at least in my eyes, to take down Jumi at this point, who is a powerful player, usually near the top 16 of the European ladder. So good on Bly there, showing his tournament quality. And we are loaded into map number 2 for this series. In the bottom right-hand side, it is the red Protoss player, DnS.
And up here in the top left-hand side of the map, our blue Protoss player, he is ShaDoWn.
Stolen gas to start here from DnS.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you're right. Ah, man, I have not seen this happen in a high-level PvP for a while, but it can be a pretty frustrating situation. Honestly, I don't know how true this is anymore. I remember Estrella telling me that it's usually, he thinks that it was worth just pulling some workers to just kill off the gas geyser, because it's just that important of a thing in PvP. You just really need gas as quickly as possible in this matchup.
Yeah, for sure, especially when the probe is denying your expansion, right? Because then you're going to be floating money, and we see that ShaDoWn hasn't even dropped a second gateway, so he really wants this expansion. I wouldn't even mind it if the Zealot actually went to the natural. Of course, it's less reliable to catch the probe and whatever it builds than it is the gas, so I think this is a sensible call. And we see that he is rallying probes, but not before saturating his mineral line, right? So he saturates his mineral line, then rallies the probes over to the gas, and DnS does the proper to block the expansion, knowing that ShaDoWn should be floating money, especially with a single gateway setup.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be pretty awkward here for ShaDoWn. Now, there's also going to be a funny situation where, because he was trying to go for the faster expansion and everything there, but didn't end up getting a second gateway, he's going to be making a single adept. And this is where it gets,
maybe?
Yeah, it just gets a little bit weird now, because well, yeah, there's no Cybercore attempt or anything over there, so the Nexus will come down, but the single adept can't really one-shot workers, so all you're getting there is you're going to be getting additional scouting information. But when you look at what DnS is doing, like, this is what I love when you're able to pull off a gas steal, is being able to go for the Stargate. You know your opponent has fewer gas to work with, so you know that the Stalker count is also going to be lower, but on top of that, ShaDoWn is going for an adept. So I feel like this definitely gets kind of frustrating and not as fun for ShaDoWn now.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on his defensive capabilities here. He's already dropping the shield battery in the main. That's going to be beautiful against the first Oracle that pops up. So let's see if he can mitigate damage, because if he does, then he is far ahead in terms of the Nexus, and his gas being later also means that his economy early on was booming, right, in terms of minerals, which is what you need to expand and whatnot, and also cutting on that gateway. So DnS very much pressured to do something here.
That I'm in full agreement with. Shield battery in the main base over here for ShaDoWn is going to be able to prevent a single adept from doing anything for the moment. ShaDoWn is doing a good job with the shield battery blocking on his own side, not letting those two adepts in. I actually really thought that DnS would just be powering up for the second Oracle very, very quickly here, but not actually going to opt for it at all.
Yeah, that is actually a little bit puzzling, because he does have this tech advantage, and he would be working against less gas like you were talking about. So I think I would have loved to see that second Oracle as well, because otherwise you're just giving your opponent too little credit that they're not going to make a shield battery or something like that for you to be able to do damage with the first one. So, and you need equalizing damage, like I've said.
Yeah, I'm 100% agreement on that. Now, the adepts do manage to make their way into the main base, though. Shield battery be damned.
Yeah, I mean, the probe kind of stopped holding position. They're a really important moment here as the Adepts are gonna try to get surrounded by the probes. Not gonna be enough. On the other side, two Stalkers are doing what they can to try to kill some probes, but they will be pulled to the shield battery. Still, ShaDoWn with 31 workers to 28 as DnS now situates his natural expansion alongside the Rabbit trademark building a Dark Shrine.
Yeah, this Dark Shrine, it could end up being a game changer here, because if you do consider what DnS has been able to do, again, all off the little bit of the back of that delayed gas geyser, it means that a lot of tech gets delayed. He got ShaDoWn to kind of go for the Twilight Council and everything. So the Robo is going to come down now. This is going to be a very tight timing. I think that the DTs will start walking in before an Observer actually would be able to pop if he starts up an Observer immediately. I think the Observer will get out in time to save him.
Yeah, I think it'll be fine. There is a second Oracle, however, that got produced, but it's not an offense, which is a little bit surprising still. And DnS really playing this series or this map a little bit fearful from the gas steal. I guess he had a different read on what ShaDoWn's response might be after he steals his gas, because he scouted the right after stealing the gas. Right, he scouted the back of his natural at the in base third, I guess. For proxies, right? So he was thinking, okay, maybe something like 4-gate, which is because tech is not going to be available to ShaDoWn with one gas, right? So he was thinking very aggressive stance from ShaDoWn, and the same is kind of signaled by that many stasis wards on his side as well. 3 of them total.
Nice blink forward there from ShaDoWn. Snipes off one of the Oracles. The Observer has just now popped, so the DTs are going to try to walk in potentially here and immediately get caught by the Observer. I think actually Observer may have caught wind of the DTs. And I actually love that pullback from DnS. Great identification there that DTs are not going to be able to get a whole lot done.
Yeah, the same can be said for the Oracles. He did get the second one, but it got taken down. So now, I mean, ShaDoWn in a very good position. I think he is lagging behind a worker for the time being, but he has the faster third as well. Here comes the Oracle, but it's going to take him down after taking only 2 of those workers. Blink on cooldown, but the Observer should be able to trail this DT no problem until the Stalkers catch up to it, and blink indeed they do. So yeah, things looking very good for ShaDoWn. We were talking about how the opener was nice for DnS, but he didn't really capitalize on it.
Yeah, I'm full agreement on that one. This is going to be a tough situation. DnS
on the
going
other
to be
side
playing from... Okay, he's going to be playing from behind, but if you can get some big stasis trap or something, maybe you can survive a little bit longer and take advantage of the, the worker supply lead he's got with 8 workers going down.
Right, DT just killed 8 workers on the other side as this was going on, and now ShaDoWn with a lot of pressure to make something happen. He has enough Stalkers to one shot, but the third stasis of ShaDoWn is actually going to catch half of ShaDoWn's army, or the third stasis of DnS, excuse me. And he is now adding additional batteries as well. So ShaDoWn has to make a decision. Do I blink in and try to capitalize on that stasis ward expiring, or do I blink out and try to save my army and, just
blink is on cooldown.
My third?
Yeah, remember, when you're in stasis, you don't actually have the blink cooldown resetting, so you can't blink out immediately. It takes a little bit longer.
I didn't know that, actually. Thank you.
Yeah, it's if you catch Stalkers that blink into the stasis, those Stalkers can't blink out when the stasis expires.
Oh, that's very interesting. All right, well, the next set of blinks is here, and good blinking back from DnS to mitigate for the damage, but this is a lot more Stalkers for ShaDoWn. 3 shield batteries, however, make it so that as soon as you run out of the DPS to one-shot Stalkers, and that's even difficult with blink available, it's going to be near impossible to just take up a straight fight. But this is something that can be... Oh, right, ShaDoWn's going for it. DnS with a beautiful blink back again onto the ramp, making it very difficult for ShaDoWn to chase there with the lack of vision. But yeah, a very exciting moment there for a second.
Yeah, it's so scary here for ShaDoWn because he is able to one-shot Stalkers with this Stalker count. But as soon as the engagement takes, 5 to 10 seconds further into the trades, those shield batteries are going to start having an effect, because eventually you start losing Stalkers and you can't one-shot your opponent's Stalkers. And that's when the shield batteries are going to start, completely changing the tide of battle. Having to blink out over there after losing a few Stalkers, not entirely ideal. And DnS, I mean, it feels like, work count wise, both these players have kind of equalized. I don't know. Where do you feel like this game sits now?
I mean, this DT is doing so much. Well, this is a different DT actually, but yeah, it's going to kill an additional 3 workers. So DTs have been very effective for DnS, even though they were spotted. This one will get 4 before it goes down. So that's nice for him on the economic front. The problem for him is that he took the half base in the back. So ShaDoWn's actually, his income with less workers should be pretty comparable if not pulling ahead as soon as his probes go back to mining here at the natural. So, yeah, I think all in all, it's a pretty even game. And it's anyone's game right now. Immortals are, of course, a threat on the side of DnS, but ShaDoWn's getting his own.
Yeah. +1 weapons has been leading up for DnS for a little bit, so I think that's definitely been a bit of a plus, but I think +2 weapons is the big upgrade in PvP that everyone likes to talk about, how it has those extra benefits for how Stalker kills and Immortals and everything else kind of go, especially Archons, I think, versus Zealots. +2 weapons helps a lot, so DnS is on his way there, and once he gets that, I think he might have a really nice timing window to actually hit.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see if that's going to be the case. There is double Disruptor production attempted at from ShaDoWn here as he's getting his Robo Bay alongside that second Robo, and now he's moving out on the map. Let's see if he is going to commit. I think he's just feigning his potential for aggression here. I don't think he needs to commit. He just needs to buy time for those Disruptors to make it out.
Yeah, Observer for DnS just got sniped off, I think. So that's actually going to be a little bit nice for ShaDoWn, just because he is still dealing with things like DTs and stuff, and making sure he isn't going to have his own Observer sniped is an important factor. Not to mention Observer is quite handy when you're using those Disruptors, which first two are about to pop now.
Yeah, this War Person will be found and taken down right away. It was empty, but it's still Robo production time, and you know, a very important tool to be able to backstab. We saw the potential of those Adepts and just backstab potential being game ending in the previous game, so do not discount how important it is to pick off those War Persons.
Yeah. Robotics Bay is getting started here for DnS, so he's going to start trying to play a little bit of catch up here. He's going to be a bit behind on that Disruptor timing. Can he hold on?
Is he going to debate? I think he should debate. He's a very smart player. He hasn't revealed the Disruptor, but no. I was hoping for him to, like, what he was doing was pretty cool because he was showing, oh, the flank. Okay, it's going to be fine. And that Disruptor will have to retreat on its own accord here as ShaDoWn is getting pushed back. The Immortals are going to output a lot of damage. Disruptor gets caught on one side, and I think ShaDoWn was hoping, or keeps hoping, for an kind of like an over-engagement from DnS where he blinks forward, and then the Disruptor could have looked to punish.
I think that would have been nice. The charge lots really complicating things. As I'm not sure if ShaDoWn had any charge lots with his army for that first kind of wave of the trades and stuff.
Nice.
Now he's got some, and he's going to be able to find a lot of these DTs over here. Disruptors not quite able to catch things. That's actually going to be 2 Disruptors on cooldown now for the fight.
Yeah, and the third one is going to get picked off right away as DnS sees the lights out on that one, and he is going to try to pounce for it. He will successfully take it down. However, the Archon is very powerful still for DnS here against the Zealots, and this is going to be a difficult choke to go up, but Disruptors, I mean, they can change everything. Here comes the next shot. 3 Zealots are going to be shaved off, as well as the blink on cooldown there on the side of DnS.
Yeah, DnS has fallen so far in supply, but I mean, he's been holding on at this top of this ramp. He's able to snipe off another Observer there, so that's no high ground vision anymore for ShaDoWn. +2 weapons is about to finish up for ShaDoWn. DnS has been taking trades with +2 weapons versus +1 for this entire series of exchanges, but can DnS hold on over here? This is kind of the moment. Sure, he gets a good Disruptor hit.
Huge. Oh, but the blink forward. Oh, but it gets taken down right away, so it's not going to go down. It's not going to finish its no, but that Disruptor, the next one, also attempting at this to zone out so that ShaDoWn gets the space to pick off the Nexus in the meanwhile. Really, really nice move from him. These DTs are expensive as well. They're going to die in the front lines. The next Disruptor shot is not going to connect onto anything. And now ShaDoWn with a decisive advantage, connecting onto both Immortals there with the Disruptor shot.
Economically, things are so tough right now for DnS. He's lost so much mining. These Immortals that he's losing are not really replaceable. And even though it looks like DnS is getting some good Disruptor hits, he's taking somewhat interesting kind of like evenish trades in some ways. But you can just see the replenishing capabilities for ShaDoWn are too much right now. ShaDoWn has been able to find a way to break through. He's been able to do the damage that he needs to already.
Yeah, absolutely. This looks beautiful for him. I mean, Disruptors give DnS somewhat of a little bit of hope, but I don't think it's justified at this point. It looks really, really bad for him as he's long distance mining, and ShaDoWn has done a wonderful job of just zoning out with his Disruptor shots while the Stalkers get their free damage off. The next Disruptor shot, actually, that was really, really close. The Disruptor dies in the nick of time for ShaDoWn to save his forces here, and now he is pushing on and ramming through the remaining forces of DnS, and I don't think there's any stopping him now.
No, there isn't. ShaDoWn ties up the series 1-1. Keeps his hopes alive of still advancing on out of his group. Well played. Firing back there.
Yeah, firing back for sure. And the resource collection rate was actually pretty even, but DnS did so much more damage, I feel like, than you would expect for the state of the game, right? Like with those DTs and whatnot. So, yeah, I think a lot of that was actually him taking the half base versus ShaDoWn taking the full base at the front for the third.
Yeah, Cats, I need to interrupt this conversation and bring something up that I did not think was going to happen. Cyril has dropped his first map of the tournament to Gerald. Gerald is 1-0 versus Cyril right now.
What a beast. I mean, he took down Showtime, I think, yesterday or the day before, right? So,
yeah wow.
That's incredible for him.
Gerald is on fire right now, man. That is I mean, it's so funny how Cyril is at such a level of mythology for StarCraft now that he loses a map and we're like, wow, that's incredible. Like, what an accomplishment. He's won a map. He hasn't even won the best of 3 yet, but yeah.
Yeah. He hasn't even advanced to playoffs yet, but yeah, he should get an award, that man, for taking down.
I think he is actually, Gerald is actually confirmed going to be advancing out in top 4 at least. I don't know if he's confirmed for 3rd or 4th place. First, I don't actually think he can catch up with Showtime anymore. So even if he beat Cyril, like, I think he would still be in 3rd place. So I think Gerald is still, he's like pretty much settled in for 3rd place.
All right. Well, that is good. That is good for Gerald. And yeah, he has been beasting throughout this group stages as well. I think that, you know, I think that he is a player that has a lot of potential. His ability to take fights is incredible. Like, his fights are so clean, and he has been working, I think, his way up to where he has a very solid macro game approach. So yeah, if anything, I think if he mixes it up, he would be so dangerous. But yeah, I mean, as it stands, he is doing fantastic. So congrats to him. It's beautiful to see that. We are now loading into the 3rd map, however, Ravi, of this series, the decider, who will get their ticket punched to Atlanta. It is decided right here, right now.
We are going to be starting up here in the top left-hand side of the map. Top of the red Protoss player. He is DnS.
And in the bottom right-hand side, it is the blue Protoss player for Berserk Esports, ShaDoWn. Playoffs on the line here.
Yep. Pretty funny way that these players have been opening in some of the previous games, where we had the proxy robo that got abandoned in the game number 1 with a high ground, high ground gateway opening with a 1-base sort of style on a map that it's usually considered relatively easy or normal to try and get that fast expansion stuff off. Cosmic Sapphire, though, I mean, I'll also mention quickly the last game also we had a gas steal and everything, so it's definitely been some weirder opening stuff. But Cosmic Sapphire is one of those maps where you do tend to see a lot of the 2-gate openings and stuff up on the high ground and everything. There's no like high ground up to your natural, so it's a little harder, more annoying to defend. I think sometimes you might see it attempted, but it's no surprise to see both these players going for these 2-gate openings.
Yeah, for sure. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Adept follow-ups as well. But as it is a very long map, right? So shades from the Adepts are going to be pretty powerful here, even though Blinks or just Stalkers might be the more common opening. So I wouldn't put it past them either. But yeah, it's been a strange series of events. And props to ShaDoWn also for not... Ooh, this could be nifty. But props to him for not kind of falling under the pressure, for not taking the bait, right? Because it seemed like DnS was expecting him to react very heavily to that gas steal and try to capitalize on the kind of aggressive front, which didn't end up happening. So yeah, keeping his composure here, as now he's going to drop a forward Stargate. Difficult to scout one at that. Yeah,
it is definitely going to be harder to scout. It's going to be somewhat forward, so maybe it gets the Oracle or something there 4 or 5 seconds faster, because it's not really on his opponent's side of the map or anything. But yeah, it'll be a nice little hard to scout proxy for sure.
For sure, right? Exactly, because of what you're saying. It's not a forward enough position that your opponent's gonna be looking for it too hard on your side of the map, right? Like they're usually gonna be concerned about
Nope.
Uh, uh, ah. He didn't see it, right?
Nope.
And that is
Did
two
not see
probes looking for it, by the way. And they're looking all over the place. So it's also the actions that it takes away from your opponent and the fact that he's, it's driving him mad. Like, it's also thoughts, right? It's also processing power that he's losing, trying to figure out what is going on here. So great job from ShaDoWn here. Also looking to apply pressure with the Adepts here. That'll somewhat give away that there has been less gas spent on the units, and therefore more likely more on the tech, as the probe does finally scout the Oracle in probably the last possible location that he searched.
Did he notice it? Okay, well, I want to say that he probably noticed it, but yeah, he has the Stalkers there and ready in position. Push it back in the main.
Yeah, no battery. And the Adepts are here as well. They will shade into the main. They will get 2, maybe 3 workers for their troubles. Actually, they shade out. Did one die? No, both survive. Very nice.
Yeah, one gets very low on hit points there. 2 workers picked off in the entirety of this game here for ShaDoWn. So I guess not bad since the Oracle's still alive and everything. And I think he did just make a second Oracle as well. DnS has his own Stargate and he made a single Oracle. I am really curious if he is interested in making like one Phoenix or something, but no, not going to opt for it.
Yeah, I don't like the pathing here from ShaDoWn, right? To join his Oracle. Oh, but it's debate! It's debate! I do love it! He's so smart and he's going to kill a couple more workers. That was beautiful. I mean, it looked like a mistake, right? Showing the Oracle where he was showing it, but it gets the Stalkers out of position for the Adepts to strike again. So beautiful job from him.
Yeah, tricked not only DnS, but also tricked you as well.
Yeah,
the exact same way. It's definitely caught him off guard. Now, this Oracle is going to be able to find a little bit of damage. 2 probes over here in the natural. There's no shield battery over there. That Oracle does need to move out of there soon, but I think he's busy microing the Adepts on the other side of the map. Both those get picked off. His Oracle escapes out relatively safely.
Yes, indeed. So, yeah, all things said and done, it's going to be ShaDoWn with a 6-worker lead for the time being. So that's pretty nice for him to start things off. And yeah, I love the forward Stargate as well. Just to touch on it for one more second, because Stargates usually are decommissioned in this matchup, like after the first few units, right? So all that you lose with the Stargate out there is the potential to make additional units should you lose the Oracle and then die to DTs or something. You would regret it, but otherwise it's just going to be the pylon eventually, and it's not even in a position where it's easy to take down. So I love what he did there, and it cannot be overemphasized, like the amount of processing power that DnS had to use to try to figure out what was going on, and also the mining time that he wasted from 2 probes in that process. So this target was pretty great so far for ShaDoWn, but now it will be decommissioned for good.
Yeah, I think that's actually a really good point. Now, like you said, it is going to get decommissioned over here. Phoenix lift up the Stalker, and that's going to give DnS a little bit of an edge in this Stalker versus Stalker war. Actually, a pretty big edge now.
Jeez.
Is it going to be able to take out even more Stalkers? Oh my god. Could this actually turn into something even bigger?
I mean, this was a huge blunder from ShaDoWn. Maybe he was looking to backstab once again, but the Oracles are not nearly in position to try to make that happen. The recall will prevent that. I mean, yeah, that was a bad engage, right? Because it was 6 Stalkers against 6 Stalkers, but the Stalkers of ShaDoWn were coming from 2 different angles, and sometimes you might think, oh, that's good, concave or something like that, right? But if all 6 of your Stalkers are firing regardless, then it's just gonna be an opportunity to desync them or to move towards the smaller number of Stalkers on the side of DnS to micro to move towards the better fight for you, right? So it's just nearly an impossible fight to take 6 Stalkers versus 6 Stalkers when you're coming from 2 different angles if you're ShaDoWn. So that was just probably a pathing issue, because otherwise it was just, flat out a big mistake there.
Yeah, I actually want to credit ShaDoWn for immediately moving into the Oracles after all of that kind of went down, because if he hadn't forced out a recall, I was looking at the numbers, DnS had a Phoenix and 10 Stalkers that were actually relatively close to like the center of the map and everything. ShaDoWn had no shield battery in the natural and 7 Stalkers, and his Oracles are also not like at home and everything. So I actually think he could very well have just died there if he hadn't forced a recall and forced all of those Stalkers to go back home instead of, just pushing into the natural.
Yeah, very, very good point. So the Oracles still do get a little bit of value there, but yeah, it's on a recovery side of things rather than gaining him an advantage, which he already had, but through those exchanges, DnS has made very narrow now. So anyone's game here. As we head into this decider, ShaDoWn will be quicker to the 4th.
Yeah, kind of interesting how quickly he's getting up those expansions and stuff. As fourth base, like you said, going to be going up, but not quite scouted just yet. Otherwise, I would imagine DnS wouldn't mind probably like poking and prodding multiple angles there, especially as he moves in with the Oracle on the south side of the map, looking to maybe do something. There's no shield battery over here.
Yeah, it's been spotted by the gas though, so this is a big mistake from DnS. You know, it's not like the Oracle is the most important piece in the world here, but it had so much potential to kill like 7-8 workers had he been paying attention right away, because that took a while for ShaDoWn to reposition, and it took DnS being in a position where the gas spotted the Oracle as well. No shield battery there, like you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, I even just feel like the Oracle has so much value, even with little things like the stasis traps that we see over here from ShaDoWn. I mean, we saw how much, those stasis traps can play an effect in PvP, even that last game, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no doubt about that. And we have a lot of stasis traps. If we can actually look at the stasis setup from ShaDoWn, he is not looking to be surprised by anything there. So that's a lot of peace of mind for him, right? And that allows him to have his army on the other side to protect that faster fourth that he took as well.
All right, move out over here from ShaDoWn. He's also going to have the Dark Shrine coming up behind this. There's no War Prism with ShaDoWn, so he can't really reinforce over here. Wouldn't be surprised if this is kind of like a light commitment. Maybe with the single sentry that's probably going to die if he ends up having to retreat, but they'll pop out a Guardian Shield, reduce some of the damage. We're going to end up seeing, looks like, little skirmishes. I love the blink forward there from DnS. That's off.
That was beautiful.
Crap. Gonna blink forward aggressively.
Yeah, that was brilliant from DnS. Actually catches both of the stasis traps, which were the only reason that ShaDoWn should be out on the map right now, because his army is actually smaller at this point in time. So feigning aggression there. Of course, if you get a stasis trap, you can take a fight against the other half of the army, but DnS smelling or seeing both with the observer is going to make it impossible for him to do that. So now ShaDoWn on defense. And remember, he has this faster fourth to defend as well. Army supply in favor of DnS, but no longer as the next warping comes in.
Yeah, and those are charge lot warpings specifically. There are a few charge lots being added into the mix over here for DnS. He's going to add on a few more. I think he's going to have a hard time poking in over here, especially with the shield battery overcharge going to be available, but yeah, he's going to back off for now.
Yeah, if it wasn't for the battery overcharge, maybe DnS can take the engagement. Zealots are going to plot nicely, right? It's a very wide ramp, so it's an open space, especially at the bottom of that base. So charge lots, very powerful, and DnS also added a lot of charge lots to his own army to augment it. But yeah, the shield battery overcharge is going to make him think twice about that.
Yeah, super interesting. Both these players just staying on such a Zealot Stalker heavy composition. No signs of Robo units really coming out. No Immortals, no Disruptors or anything coming out either. Or even Archons.
Yeah, not for the time being, and it kind of makes sense for the map as well. It's a very large map. It's a map that's going to favor the players who are mobile. Very good engagement here to start from ShaDoWn. The Zealot Warpings in the back are not going to help DnS, and this is actually looking beautiful for ShaDoWn here, as he has a lot more charge slots and makes use of that open space that I was talking about.
Yeah, and when you have these kind of army compositions where there aren't any Archons or anything added into the mix, there aren't any Disruptors or Playmaker units, when you lose an engagement that kind of one-sidedly and you're down 30-some supply, it is very difficult to make a big comeback happen. No stasis traps either really going to be available, because remember, DnS lost the Oracles earlier on, so ShaDoWn might have something like that available, but it's actually going to be so tough for DnS to mount a defense here now.
It is. He does have that backwards cannon as well as the shield battery that he's standing in front of. So that is kind of his one saving grace. But ShaDoWn is going down this very open choke here. And now going for the shield battery overcharge. He's looking to take the game-winning engagement. He looks like he has enough now. As DnS is unable to protect that battery and the Zealots are just wreaking havoc here, it looks like we might have a winner. The Zealot flank, however, from DnS is trying to have a say in the matter. The cannon is helping out against the Zealots in the back as DnS micros nicely to try to stay alive, but it's 50 supply ahead for ShaDoWn.
That's going to be a tough thing to overcome. And it looks like with some slower reinforcements, DnS holds on for a little bit longer, but as soon as the reinforcements ShaDoWn come forward, ShaDoWn takes the series 2-1 and secures his spot in